turning. That's a penalty, is it? No, he's still going. Oh, how about that? How about that?
Carried on into the penalty area, here he is. And then Giroud. What a goal. Brilliantly worked. Fantastically finished.
Here's Ramsey. And Alexis Sanchez, great footwork. 3-0. Liverpool blown away. A 3-goal, 8-minute Arsenal blast. For Alexis, blocked by Newcastle defender. Still not clear. Wow, what a volley. Where others failed, Ozil has succeeded. Well done, Arteta. Plenty of it here. Yes! Arsenal have their breakthrough. Mikel Arteta, they deserve it. Oh, they're behind again. It's amazing. It's Aaron Ramsey. That's the response of Arsenal. Iwobi, nicely done. Brilliantly done. Bayer in, Walcott. Sensational Arsenal goal. Is that a handball? No. Nothing the play can do. Great, what a goal! Arsenal have made it 3-0. Jack Wilshere with an absolute thunderbolt.
Hello and welcome to the Clock End Talk. I'm your host, Tej. You can get me at Guna Tej. You can get Clock End Talk at clockend_talk. Geez, that intro sounds good when you win a game. Last week I was so depressed, I was like, I'm going to change the intro because we don't deserve to be listening to shit like that. So, and then we get a win and I'm like, fucking just listen to that again. I'm like, I am pumped, boys. I'm pumped and ready to go. Welcome, Tony. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Hope everyone had a good Christmas, etc. And I'm sure it was made a hell of a lot better by the football yesterday.
It was. And Addy, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. Again, same thing. Hope everyone had a good Christmas. And looking forward to the new year. But yeah, no, I'm doing well.
That's it, mate. Okay, Tony, we got a win at last. I know now what it feels like to be a Sheffield United fan. Because I did not think we were going to go into this game and win. And I still see a few little Arsenal fans moaning, and I totally understand that. But let's break this down, mate. Take it for what it is. And, hey, a win's a win, buddy.
A win's a win. But it's more than that. We didn't shit house a 1-0 after getting battered. We won a game we fully deserved to win, and we played football. We moved the ball well. It was a lot more reminiscent of Arteta's first 10 games or however many games it was. It was actually quite similar to the first maybe 40 minutes of the Chelsea home game, which was, I think, the 27th of December last year. It was like a year on, nearly to the day. And we played very similar. We played it very similar, but this time when we was on top, we got the job done, whereas it was last time we only got a 1-goal lead. They didn't have a man sent off. Then we made a couple of errors and lost the game. But I thought performance-wise and everything, it was a strong performance. I think it was more than just a win, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Addy, you agree with all that, mate?
Oh, yeah, totally agree. I feel that, as Tony said, it was definitely reminiscent to his first 10 games in charge and the Chelsea match. We actually looked to press early. We had some good passing plays, and we mixed, varied the attack. Attack didn't just go down the wings. We used Emile Smith-Rowe, attack down the middle, attack down the wings, but it was a much more varied attack as opposed to what we've been seeing over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I shared some stuff with you boys in the WhatsApp last night, and I know Tony's not a massive fan of stats, but I was more just trying to have a look at actually what had changed in this game compared to, an Everton game or something like that. And one thing that really stood out for me, Addy, was a lot less passes. Like there was 328 passes in total, 229 of them successful, compared to 500 against Everton. So it's a massive drive. I don't know if you've seen me post them, but then I was like, have we slowed it down a little bit? Are we controlling it a little bit more as opposed to just passing. But keep in mind, obviously, different games, different teams. But yeah, it was just an interesting little stat that I did see.
Yeah, no, I think if you look at Guardiola's teams, obviously they look to keep the ball, but if they have any attempt to get forward, they'll play it forward. So even if it's in one pass from Ederson to Aguero, they can do that. So I think we were a little bit more direct. It wasn't just, okay, let's just build up play. I think it was, you know what, let's get the ball forward and keep the ball in their half and play in their half more, which is something that we've done. We did more in the match yesterday. We played in their half more as opposed to us just keeping the ball in, and it's just playing around our defence and in our middle third. We actually played in that Chelsea half.
I did say to you boys before we record, let's do this and let's do a quick one because we do have a game in 24 hours or so. So, Sheffield United, is it? No, Brighton. Sorry.
Brighton, yes.
Yeah, Brighton. So Tony, as we always do, mate, we discuss the lineup. I'll be honest, mate, when I seen that lineup come out, I thought, holy moly.
I'll be the first to admit my initial reaction was, I think this could be Arteta's last game, because it didn't seem well thought out. It seemed a bit, I thought desperate is not the word, but hopeful. Like, we'll put the kids in that I've refused to put in so far. Martinelli played 45 the other day. We'll bring him in. Pepe rested the other day, but we're not playing him. Let's move Saka to the right. Obviously, I didn't know about the COVID stuff. I mean, even dropping Willian and Louise out from the squad. Again, we didn't know the COVID stuff when the lineup dropped. So it was a bit like, well, everyone's been telling you to do this, and now is it your last roll of the dice that you're just kind of doing what everyone else has said? Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of what the fuck is it?
You got a Hoover vacuum cleaner going in the background.
What the fuck? What was that?
It's my fan on my laptop, but yeah.
Yeah, it was like, there's a lot of.
Sorry, Tony. That was just the classic sound. That. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't too big on the lineup when, as I said, we didn't know the stuff that was going on. We obviously didn't know if Aubameyang was fit. Lacazette definitely earned his place after his however long it was, 15 minutes against Everton. But again, it was like last week he wasn't even in line to start. Then suddenly, he come on late for Eddie, and then suddenly starting. It just seemed a bit desperate rather than anything else. But then when you find out the issues we had and the way we wanted to play, it made sense. But as the lineup dropped at 4:30, it was, or just before that actually, I got it about 4:20. It was a very weird one, but it made me money, so it was a good day.
I'm going to ask you because you've been before I go to Addy, you've been banging this drum for a few weeks now. Smith Rowe, you wanted to see him.
A few weeks. It's been a few years. I'm so glad. Like, the thing is, I remember, and I was going to bring this up because I don't miss an opportunity to gloat. But I remember when Addy wasn't on this podcast, he used to just write comments from time to time or send in questions or ring up on the live callers or whatever it was. And I was going on about ESR then. Like, he wasn't having it. And then fair enough, it's not digging him out. But now's my time to shine. For 2 years I've waited for this moment. Don't tell me about 2 weeks. No, I mean, do you know what it was? There's two things, and one of them I bring up when I was speaking to you last week. He's willing to run away from the ball, and that is so big in the Premier League, and none of our players do it. Or Gabby does as well, but hardly any of our players do it. So that adds so much. And also just the positions he takes up. I don't think he'd done anything exceptional yesterday. But he just takes up positions. Like, there was, I can't remember who posted it on Twitter, and there was 4 pictures of him just being completely unmarked, and you could progress to play through him, or he was just between the lines. And yeah, that's just pure positioning. That's not ability. He didn't make fantastic passes when he got the ball. He didn't get it, go and beat 3 players and have a shot. But it gives you something to think about. And remember, he's playing against Kante, and Kovacic. Like they're good players, and he's giving them trouble. And I think he topped it off by just before he came off. I mean, his race was running. He does have to work on his fitness because that's always been an issue of his. But just a little nutmeg on Kante before you go off. Tell him who's boss and strut off the pitch.
Just while we're talking about Smith Rowe, Brian said, "Do we need a creative midfielder, or does he suffice for you?"
For me, I think we still need another one due to fitness, and you can't have a guy who's never played in the Premier League or only had one start to then come and play whatever there was 23 games left every week. And also, as I said, he's not. When I say he's not fit enough, I'm not even talking about injuries, which he does have an injury past as well. I'm talking about he can't last 90 at that pace, and we've seen that all throughout him playing for us. He could do 70 every week, fitness allowing, but as I said, when you've got 23 games left and you've got FA Cup and the Europa League, for me, I think we still need another option. But I would hope, and again, I've been banging this drum for years, I'd hope we see a hell of a lot more of him because I think he deserves it. And I think is a positive for Arsenal. It's not now just giving someone a chance, which people maybe saw it as a few weeks ago. Now it's someone that can positively impact the team.
I'm going to come back to you a bit later with some young players, but as we go on with this podcast, because there's some interesting conversations that possibly need to be had, I think. But Addy, I want to get your thoughts on obviously the lineup, mate. Brian says you're a great addition to the team, mate. No, it is. You are a great addition to the team, buddy.
Thank you, Brian. I think so. Typically, when I saw the lineup, I thought I was, again, as Tony said, I was thinking the worst. I was thinking, oh my gosh, he's going to stick ESR on the right. I thought he was going to actually play a back five.
That was interesting, because do you boys see Smith Rowe on the right on your apps?
Yeah. So the majority of formations that came out, and even myself thinking, because obviously with the mindset and what Arteta has done previously, I thought, okay, cool. Saka's going to be a wing back. Smith Rowe was going to be on the right, Baka down the middle, Martinelli on the left. That was my thought. So obviously seeing that it was actually a 4-3-1 with ESR in the middle, I was like, okay, wow, that's even good. But then again, I saw the line. I was like, even though Bellerin had a good game, again it was like, oh, okay, yeah. To be fair, we called it last week. Anything now is going to get dropped. Did he really need to get dropped? Nope, but we knew it was going to get dropped. And then Xhaka, I knew Xhaka was going to come straight back into the squad. That was so. Even when I saw those, I was like typical Arteta. You're bringing back players that don't deserve to be back, but cool. No, that was it.
I was with you boys. I seen that lineup come out, and like I said at the start, I thought, holy moly, but hey, it worked. Martinelli, he really is a shining light for this team. Like, that kid is. I'm looking forward to his next couple of years at Arsenal. I think he's really going to be a real star. Okay, Tony, let's try and break this game down a little bit. Look, I thought first 20 minutes or something, I thought we really dominated the game. I thought we were all over Chelsea for the first 20 minutes, and the 34th minute you can go into, we got a penalty and Lacazette nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the exact minutes, but I thought we started quite well and then dropped off. And in my head, I thought we played. It might have been not these timings are correct, but I thought we played well for 10 and then dropped off. And I thought, oh no, we just had a bit of an excited start, and then the quality is going to show. And then they came into the game a bit. Obviously, they hit the post with Mount, and they had a lot of the ball. It started off early, us sort of running wild, and then they had a lot of the ball. And then it swayed back even. It was like in the first, say, 25 minutes, it was like we was on top, then they was on top, and then it was pretty even. It had all elements within 25 minutes. And then, just when we started to get back on top, our fullback started getting forward again. I think we should have scored just before that with, Thiago assaulted someone. I can't remember if it was Saka. Then Hector, his pass to be fair, I thought Hector played well. If you look at 90 minutes over the first 25, I think his pass completion was about 0. He gave the ball away every time he had it, and even so, I think Smith Rowe probably should have scored the chance, but Hector's pass is also not good. Like when you see the amount of space that Smith Rowe had, first of all, give it to his right foot. He's right-footed. Second of all, Hector can see that he's got time, so don't give him the ball in front of it. Give him the ball where he can take a touch and just slot it in because he has got that time. Instead, Hector's played a fast ball to his left foot where he's on the stretch. And as I said, like ESR probably should have done better, but Hector's done him absolutely no favors. So like we've started from that point, but then we started to get back on top from that moment, and it came from Chelsea sloppiness. Really, they let us back in it, and then I feel we've done really well from the goal. We've kept the ball, we've recycled it a bit. I'm gonna get some criticism on this. When you have people overlapping on the left-hand side, is when you're gonna see the benefit of Xhaka, because that ball in behind the fullback to an overlapping runner, he plays it as good as anyone. And I think in the last few weeks where we've not had overlaps, we've had Tierney or Saka or Maitland-Niles getting forward, but they've not been on the overlap. They've just been on that side. We haven't seen that pass as much from Xhaka, but obviously spreads it out. Tierney does Reece James, and Gary Neville's lost the plot. He was going on for ages how it wasn't a penalty, how if he was VAR, he wouldn't, like the VAR guy, he wouldn't have given it. I mean, I'm not going to say it's as clear as you can get because I've seen a lot clearer, but I mean, give me a break.
I don't want to come across biased here, Tony, because obviously, look, I'm happy for a penalty. I'll be honest. I thought it was a little bit weak. I thought it was a bit soft. It was lucky. I thought, okay, he clipped him, but it wasn't a clear, like, I don't think it was.
It wasn't clear as day. It wasn't.
It's not the clearest penalty I've ever seen. I've just said that, but the thing is, and Tierney said it in an interview. I don't know if you saw it. They said to him in the interview after the game, "Was it a penalty?" He said, "I don't know. He hit me, and I went down." Like, that's it. When you're in the onus isn't on you to stand up. If you're asking me, look, if there was a full pool of man-eating sharks beneath him, yes, he would have stayed on his feet. So I'm not saying he was completely wiped out. But the thing is, when you draw your leg back to cross the ball and someone's leg hits you, now imagine he stays up and then he shanks that ball into the side netting because his leg's been knocked slightly off balance, doesn't get a penalty, and everyone goes, "Oh, what a shit cross." Like, he's absolutely right to go down.
Yeah, but if it was against us, mate, what I'm probably getting at is if it was against us, I'd be spewing.
I would still say it's a penalty. I'd be pissed off that someone went down so softly. But when you look at the alternative, until they start giving penalties when people don't go down, then it's a penalty. Like, I mean, it's a penalty either way. As I said, he draws his leg back to cross the ball and his leg gets hit. Like, that's what Gary Neville said. Oh, he knocked his leg backwards. And it was like, well, yes, that's how you kick a football. That's how it works.
The problem with VAR, though, is they cannot change the rule to say it was a penalty or not. They can't go against the referee. What they need to see is there clear evidence that the referee got it wrong. So the rule is so, like, VAR can't rule that out because...
No, well, that's kind of what Gary Neville was saying. It's absolutely not a penalty. If he was a VAR, he would recommend the ref go and change it. Like, it's clear and obvious. That's what he was saying. For me, if that's given, it's never ever going to be overturned. Like 100%, it's not going to be overturned. If it's not given, there's half a chance it might be overturned. I don't think it's as clear cut the other way. I think if it's given, 100% VAR is going to go, yeah. If it's not given, they'll say to the ref, go and look at it because there's clear contact. And that's what I mean. For me, I don't even really understand the argument about it. And then Gary Neville was going mad about it. Obviously you've not got Sky Feed. I presume Addy did. And Gary Neville was talking about it for ages. And then they went to the studio and it was Alex Scott and Rob Green. And they both went, yep, penalty. Alex Scott said, as a fullback, if you've been beaten, you try and make a tackle. It's basically a penalty. Like, you know. And then on Match of the Day, it was, I can't remember, Danny Murphy and someone else, I think. And they didn't even consider. They was like, yeah, penalty. Like, it wasn't even Gary Lineker, was it a penalty? They both went, yep, move on. Shearer.
Yeah, we had an old geezer that they crossed to, and at half time we had Ian Wright and the Chelsea ex-Chelsea. Yeah, that was the feed we had, and we had an old geezer, and he was just saying, look, for him it was a penalty because VAR can't overturn it. Like it's just and it's silly how they do that, because like it's not. If the referee signals that obviously there is some, he's signaled a penalty, so then can they go against the referee? And apparently the VAR won't go against them.
Yeah.
Well, no, but now,
but
that was the case last season. So this season, they can say it's a bit soft. Go and have another look at it. So I mean, the VAR in theory has never been able to make decisions. They absolutely did last season, but they wasn't supposed to. Now now they can only say to the ref, go and have another look. They can say, oh, there was contact, but it was a bit soft. Go and have another look to see if you think it was enough. But they repeated on Sky Sports. They said, oh, the VAR, because they can hear what the VAR says. Obviously, we can't as fans. And they said on Sky Sports, he's just said the knees hit the back of his leg. It's a clear penalty.
Yeah.
That's what the VAR said.
I am getting some questions coming in. I will get to them in a second. Just quickly, Tony, Lacazette nailed it, and hey, we go up 1-0.
Yeah, very, very good penalty. And it was weird because Pepe's never missed one for us. And I said I was really nervous at Everton about he just didn't look right. Whereas Lacazette, as much as I don't like him, don't rate him, I wasn't concerned. Like, I just thought, I was talking to a few people in the group chat last night. I don't think he's ever missed one for us. And I don't know if it's that, because I've only seen him take 2 or 3. But as he stepped up, he just looked. I like when keepers jump about on the line as well. I don't know why. As the attacking team, it makes me more confident when a keeper's running up and down, because I think you ain't really made a decision, and if they take it at the wrong time, you can't spring. Like, do you know what I mean? If you're midway moving across your line, how are you going to get the spring to be able to reach the corners? So when Mendy started doing that, as I said, for whatever reason, I don't know why, I wasn't worried. I just thought, we're going to score here.
Yeah, so I was probably the opposite, go Addy.
No, I was just going to say, to be fair, I think his record at Lyon was good as well. I think he was there, the penalty take at Lyon, and all the ones I've seen, he bagged a lot of penalties for Lyon. So
I think the year we signed him, he scored 10 out of 11. I think he got 31 or 32 goals and 10 were penalties, and he missed one. So numbers similar to that.
My only issue is that when your confidence is so far down, and I wondered where the team confidence was, and I was like, Lacazette, I'm trying to think back at when was the last time he scored a goal. I think it was probably Europa League. Oh no, he got one. Anyway, I'm not sure, but so that was my only issue, was the confidence from a confidence thing. Pressure's on you, and he may balls this up. That was, and I was more hoping he wouldn't do like how Aubameyang does that little chip in or something. And I'm like, oh, don't do something like that. So that was my only worry. Ray said he covered his eyes when Lacazette was taking the penalty. A couple of questions. Russ, good evening. He's good evening to you, buddy. Ray also said a soft penalty, but still a penalty. And just talking about Granite, Brian said this system and the lineup suits Granite. Keep it. Also bring out the best in Lacazette. Rest Aubameyang until he's keen again. Any thoughts on any of that?
Just obviously, soft penalty, still a penalty. Totally agree with that. The system and the lineup. Yes, I think Tony mentioned it earlier that like when you have overlapping fullbacks, not just fullbacks that are just up there, but overlapping fullbacks. It does bring out the best in Xhaka. And again, if you look at Arteta's first 10 games, it was Aubameyang always tucking in and Saka always being that free body. And then Xhaka actually played that ball a lot of the times. So again, it's the system. And obviously I've said it so many times that Arteta has had 3 different types of systems at Arsenal since he's come in. And he, for some reason, he hasn't reverted back to anything until the match yesterday. So we're seeing what was happening before, and then obviously with Tierney, who's a great crossover of the ball, and he's an attacking fullback, which is what I love about him. He's not like an Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's someone that he can defend, and in attack, you're going to get good quality from him as well.
Ray was just saying, Tony, a question: why would Tierney? Why would Tierney go down when he was clear of James?
Look, he could have stayed on his feet. I'm not pretending for a moment that it was such a bad tackle that he had to go down. But a penalty was a better position than where we was in. I know a lot of times you do say that, why would a man go down? But I think Chelsea still had 4 or 5 bodies in the box and we had less, and there wasn't a clear pass where it's just like a tap in, like you could roll it across and someone taps it in. So for me, look, Tierney said it himself. I'm not trying to cover anything he didn't. He got touched and went down. It's just, it's simple as that.
We'd be spewing if he didn't, be honest. Like, it's trying not.
Well, as I said, I think if he doesn't, he ends up shanking that behind the goal or into the side netting, because when you draw your leg back and someone knocks it, even if they only knock it the tiniest bit, you then kick a different part of the ball. Like, we've all done it. Anyone that's played knows what happens when you draw your leg back and someone gets the slightest touch on you, and you'll never ever get a foul for it if you don't go down. So,
that's right.
Said he knew what he'd done. He also ran across. I mean, they always say it's one of the first things you learn as a kid, especially as an attacker: run across your defender, because they just run into the back of you. It's a foul, and he stepped across him. He knew exactly what he was doing. But that's the other thing that annoys me. People go, when someone gets fouled and they go, "Oh, he knew what he was doing, so it shouldn't be a foul." Why? Just because you know what you're doing, it's still a foul.
I remember Jamie Vardy got a penalty against us when we won.
Monreal 2-1.
Yeah,
Welbeck.
Yeah, Welbeck. Yes, that penalty for me. Yeah, it was the biggest dive ever. But Monreal left his leg there, and this is the thing. Jamie Vardy's just gonna what? He wanted to jump over the leg.
I have a bit of a problem with that one, because I think Vardy actually made contact with Monreal. I don't even think Monreal left the leg out. But I know what you mean. But to be fair, Gary Neville said it on commentary, and I do kind of agree with him. Robert Pires brought that to England. Like, he did. That didn't exist until, like, the Portsmouth one was the first. I remember when we drew 1-1 at home to Portsmouth, and the world went mad about it because Robert Pires ran past someone and found their leg on the way through. And now it's commonplace. But I remember that was the first time anyone had seen it, and it was like mental. The world went crazy about it. But it's a foul. Like,
okay. Moving on. Lacazette, obviously penalty. We go up 1-0. 44th minute, my man takes a free kick, and holy fucking hold on to your hat, because the Granite haters of the world just didn't know what to say. Addy, we go up 2-0, brother.
To be fair, it was a great free kick. Again, I thought Lacazette was going to take it. I was thinking, is he going to do what he did against Napoli? And to be fair, when Xhaka connected with it really, really well. The only reason why I didn't want Xhaka to take it, I think he had a long range shot earlier in the match, and he totally fluffed it. So I was like, no, don't get Xhaka on it. But to be fair, he trusted in his abilities, and he popped it top corner. What more could you ask for? To be fair, it was great. It was a great free kick. I don't think I think Rob Green said it. At times you just have to hold your hand up and say, good free kick, good goal. You weren't saving that. He
had a really good game yesterday, and even some of the Granite fans came out and said that's the best they've seen him in an Arsenal. So I thought, really? I don't know if it was a good game, but come on, I think
good game.
I think you're just being a little bit. I like Granite, and people know I do like Granite, but to sit there, I don't know what it is with the hatred around him. I don't know if another player has got so much hatred than Granite. Every time we lose, he gets the blame. Every time when he has a good game, it's he had one good game out of 100. What do you want, DP? I don't know.
You know what it is, yeah? It's because Granite is not like Kante, and in the sense that he quietly does his job. There's always something big with Granite. So whether it's him continuously getting yellow cards and giving away stupid fouls, that's your issue. And that this is the thing. It's not even like a thing where players don't give away stupid fouls. Players give away stupid fouls. Fred, for example, at Man United, I think he's just not a bright player and he gives away stupid fouls. But then, like with Granit, it's just because of that. And some games will have a good game, and then everyone's like all up here, and then he has a shit game, and everyone's all down there. And like he just needs to have a run of 6 or 7 quiet games. Just do the basics, and then I think that's when it dies out. But because he, whether it's himself or just his stupidity at times, because that unfortunately with me, he'll either do a bad pass or give away a stupid foul in the worst position, or he'll do what he did yesterday and have a good game. Like, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, great, but it was a good game, solid game, bam.
Okay, we're going to half time, Tony, and I'm pretty happy, mate. We're up 2-0, and I'm thinking to myself, we come out this half, and we play a bit more defensive-minded football and just keep this lead. I was a little concerned Chelsea changed it up. They brought on Jorginho, and who else did they bring on? Hudson-Odoi. Yeah, so I was a little bit concerned. I'm like, oh shit, for me that was a bit scary.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't displeased that I wanted Werner to stay on because I think he's shit, as I've been saying for years. And I mean, look, I don't rate him anyway, but his confidence is so low at the moment. He's not even a footballer at the moment. I don't know what he is at the moment. Like, he's just got nothing about him, and that will change. He's, as I said, I don't rate him, but he's not as bad as he's playing at the moment. So yeah, that was a bit annoying. And also, he wasn't willing to defend, so I really wanted him to stay on because he had no interest in anyone running off him. He was like, yeah, cool, that's someone else's job. And also, I think Pulisic is much better on the left, and I've said this for ages. I really, really rate Pulisic, but I don't think he's very good on the right. And so Werner coming off and them switching him over was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And Jorginho was an interesting one because you always feel like you have to stop him because he controls the tempo, but he's also not dangerous. He's one of these players, I hate the type of player because you can't ignore them, but then you feel like you're wasting something if you make someone stop them. So you think, if Smith Rowe goes and stands next to him, it takes him out the game. It makes it 10v10, which is fine. But then someone's now got to match Kante's legs. And then so then you leave Jorginho, but then he controls the tempo. You're like, what'd you do? So it was a weird one. I mean, Kovacic is the better player for me, but you do have to do something about him. And to be honest, I thought what we done well is we didn't try and take him out the game, but we let him have the ball when all of our, he was the deepest man in terms of we had 11 men behind the ball. So it's like, control what tempo you want. You're only moving us side to side. Don't let him, as long as he can't split lines, he can make 1,000 passes if he wants. They're not effective. So I thought we'd actually dealt with it quite well. But I didn't, so I thought we was going to go sort of park the bus mode. And I don't think we did. Look, they would, for the first 10 minutes, I think Hudson-Odoi coming on, adding a bit of pace and a bit of bravery, kind of took us back 5 yards. But I don't think we came out and we're going to sit on 2-0. We're still trying to play forward. We actually tried to play a bit more football, played out from the back a little bit more. And then obviously it wasn't very long until the third goal come.
Well, go on. Talk us through that third goal.
The playing out from the back was almost back. There was a few shaky moments. But, I mean, that move, I don't know how many. I think it was 10 passes back to front. But most of the players had a touch. It was knocked round nicely. There was only, I think, one pass where Chelsea actually got near the ball. So it was not like risky passes where if it gets cut out, we're in trouble. There was one where Holding played it into midfield, and at the time it looked like he played the wrong ball. But then Granit got to the ball. I'd say first, it wasn't like a 50-50. He got to the ball quite comfortably. And that was what sprung the trap. That Holding ball, by playing the slightly risky ball, was the one that opened everything up. Great move. As I said, again, Hector went, and I think it was Pulisic on that side by that time. Just didn't track him at all. Gave it Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe, obviously, 1 yard pass. Now the big question. Did he mean it?
For me, he didn't. He was trying to cross it. And the only reason I originally thought, hey, shit, he meant that. It was more the later when he tweeted out with his little tweet and the wink eye. And then I watched the interview he gave it after, I think it was after the game. And I thought, yeah, no.
He said it.
He's saying it with a smile, and he's like, I don't know. Yeah.
You know, my initial first reaction was he's absolutely not meant it. Then, like, I've watched it back a few times, and I'm now not sure because he didn't shank it. He connected with the ball cleanly, and the player is like Martin Elliott, who was at the back post, is 10, 15 yards away from the ball. And I think,
but he did look up. He looked up.
He did look up. I don't know. It's a weird one because everything about it tells me he didn't mean it. Apart from, I refuse to believe he would get a 20-yard ball wrong by 15 yards, unless he shanked it, and he clearly didn't shank it. So I'm like, I feel like so much of me says he doesn't mean it, but then if it was on his left foot, I wouldn't even question it. I'd say he meant it because he definitely wouldn't be 15 yards wrong over a 20-yard ball. But even on his right foot, I think he's got enough about him to not be. But then I don't know if you'd go with that technique if you were trying to shoot, to be honest. Like, if I had a gun to my head, I'd say he didn't mean it. But if he honestly said, like, yeah, I meant it, I don't think there's enough in me to say you're lying.
Go on, Addy.
With me, he didn't mean any of that. That one was pure luck. Same thing. I watched it a million times now, and he looked up. But then the thing is, you know, when you're on your weaker foot, you like concentrate on your technique a bit more. So you obviously, it doesn't look like he shanked it, but he got it totally wrong. That unfortunately, I would say it out here now. To be fair, he hit the ball very well. And he hit the ball very well into the top corner. But to be fair, I think it was a good move. One thing I think someone mentioned about playing out the back. I think the last few games now, we've got the notion of, okay, we don't have to force playing out the back. If we can play out from the back, we play out the back. But even from our goal kicks now, it's okay. Can we play out? We can't play out. We're actually going long. So I think that has taken the pressure off of us a lot now. And now when we do have opportunities to play out the back, we're not forcing it. It's like, okay, cool. This is a good opportunity to play. Let us play. So I would say I like that we've changed it and we have that understanding of when to play, when not to play. Definitely out the back. So I think that I'll give Arteta his props for actually definitely that. But yeah, the goal, he didn't mean it. 100%. 100% didn't mean it.
Schwinn pops on this podcast at times and he says, no, didn't mean it, no chance. But then you look at Ray. Ray says, I think Saka meant it. So,
Ray was saying outside the boot, never. If you go look at it again, it was definitely inside the boot, even the goal.
It's one for the highlights reel, and it'll always go down as a great goal. It really was a good goal. You know, just having a crack, I don't mind a bloke having a crack like that, you know. Whether he meant it or not, he's had a crack and he's nailed it. So, okay, boys. Look, we go up obviously 3-0. The only thing I wanted to talk about quickly
before you go into end of the game, there was a Martinelli chance where we could have made it 4-0.
Yeah.
Again, very good play. For me, he should have scored.
Yeah, he should have got it. Yeah, it was straight down the middle, wasn't it? I thought, why didn't you go either side?
I've got a lot of sympathy for him.
It was a good save though. I would say I won't say it was a good save low down to the right. But yeah, sorry.
No, but I don't know. Have you seen Zuma's touch? It was going in. Zuma got a touch on it, and it took it closer to the keeper, like literally a toenail. I'm not saying it was a huge deflection, but it takes it a yard closer to the keeper. And I think without Zuma's touch, I think it goes in.
I
was
didn't
like
see that. Yeah,
the
right.
move was lovely, and my first reaction was, you have to score from there. Like, you're on the edgy area or just inside the area, basically a free shot. You can go either way as well, which means the keeper can't cover either. Like, he can only cover maybe the middle of the goal, basically, because he can't guess on the way, he can't gamble. And but yeah, Zuma got a toenail on it, which just took it inside. Like,
I'll have to have another look at that. I don't believe that.
you see, like, that's why he was like mad pissed off at it, and I think it was because the tiniest touch has taken it from what would be a goal to not. Also, I mean, do you know what I liked about Gabby? I mean, we're so much better when he plays, even when he doesn't do anything. Just his intensity and his attitude makes us so much better. But I think you saw it. He had a bicycle kick that was never going in, but he was like furious with himself that he didn't score. And I'm like, fucking, how can you expect to score from there? The absolute arrogance of it was insane. But, yeah, I felt a little bit sorry for him with that chance, to be honest.
Ray just said Laka got a chance. I thought that was like Laka got another chance too. Laka's chance, for me, I think it was on the left, wasn't it? Out on the left.
It was when Mendy's kick, which Laka rang down.
Oh,
he loved that finish though. Who was it? He done exactly the same last year against someone from that angle late in the game, and it hit like the angle of bar and post. But he done exactly the same thing. He loves that finish.
Was
and
it
for me,
was it not the Everton goal?
No, he scored against Everton like that, but he had exactly the same chance in another game, and it hit the bar and post angle, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's so unlucky because it hit the bar and bounced down," and it was like, it was unlucky, but you should also score. I think he goes the wrong way, to be honest. With the ball bouncing like that, I think Lace is low to the keeper's right, and he's almost got no chance because he's backing off because he's worried about being lobbed. And I also think Mendy made a camera save. I think Mendy made the effort look a lot better than it was. But Laka pressed. His touch was good to bring that ball down. I'm not really going to criticize him apart from saying I think he should have scored. But it's not like oh my God, how's he missed it, which we have had with Laka before. It was he should have scored. It was a decent effort, but I think he should have scored.
You know, he had all them three, and even I'll throw in Smith Rowe, even though I don't think it was his chance. The one that I thought should have gone in was El Neni. El Neni's fucking straight in front, and he's just done an El Neni, and it's gone up over the. I'm like, how did you not score?
Yes. And you know what that is, yeah? That's everyone said he had technique. Honestly, he shanked it. He was in the middle of the goal, and he could have hit anywhere.
His eyes lit up. It must have got him on the outside of the foot, and it's gone.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And he's going, even he was, and I'm like, I think anyone else would have got that.
Anyone else would have actually placed it, opened their body up, and how the ball rolled out to him as well. Yeah, you could have done like an instep and then put your body and place it anywhere, left or right. But then, for me, it's really poor technique.
If we lost that game 2-1 and that was the chance to level it up, I would have been absolutely right bullet on Nenny's miss.
As much as I think he's awful and whatnot, and I don't think he played particularly well. Like, he played well, but I mean, he wouldn't be in my top 8 players on our team probably. I don't know if I think you're being a little bit harsh. I think he tried to hit it too hard, and that was his crime. There was bodies in front of him. You probably should score, but I don't think it was a disgusting effort. I was more disgusted that came from a corner. So that was from the Lacazette chance that Mendy saved, and then that was a corner and they hit the bar and Holding save. And I thought, I know it's 3-0, but with how shaky we are, why are we overcommitting? Like, why have we got so many people forward? And then so that comes to another corner after Holding shot saved. Then we overhit the corner, they break, goal. And I'm like, what are you actually doing? Like, what are you actually doing? Like, even the corner's overhit, they spank it long, and Hudson-Odoi is the last man. Like, we haven't even got the only reason he's not offside is because he's in our own half. Yeah. Like, and I'm like, where's this confidence come from? A few weeks ago, you couldn't attack. Now you want to put 11 man forward at a corner. Like, what are you even doing? It actually done my head in, because I thought, even with the first one when El Neni hit the bar and whatnot, I still thought, why are we so short at the back? Like, Because El Neni is the edge of the area guy, and he's nearer the penalty spot. He's running forward, not backwards. I'm like,
he is,
what are we playing at? And look, that's not particularly an El Neni fault. I think it's a whole team. It's a game management fault. But that's where the goal comes from. I don't think that there's a few other negatives that I'll let Addy go into because I know it's someone he doesn't really like. But the game management from the whole team was horrendous. They got gassed. They're like 3-0. Yeah, they were playing Sunday League football. Honestly, they all wanted, we want to go. We want to win 5-0. And to be fair, even in the group chat, I didn't go in the group chat during the game or during the second half. But I looked after the game and people were like, I want 5, I want 6. It's like, have you seen us play recently? I just want 3 points. I don't care how it comes. Like, it's I want this, I want that. Shut up, man.
Well, just quickly, so obviously, and I'll let you go in, Addy. Abraham gets one, and for me, I thought he was. Well, that's one of them. I wasn't worried. Like, they looked at the offside a few times. Maybe I am a little biased. I'm still a little bit. I think he was off. I can't work out how he wasn't offside. But look, we won the game anyway. But like, I don't know.
Yeah, for me, obviously, when they did the check, Bellerin's left foot, I think, played him on. But again, it was all avoidable. It didn't have to get to that stage because they broke now. Willock tracked Callum Hudson-Odoi. But then the ball went into Pulisic. I think he skipped past like 3 or 4 players with some good footwork. Again, like, it's just too easy.
Can I just say one thing before you continue? This exact moment is where our fan base is a problem because Granit pulled out the tackle because people moan at him for making fouls. No, foul him. Like people moaned about the one in the first half when Mount hit the post on the free kick. Fuck you, great foul. And people moaned about the Pablo Mari one on whoever it was on.
Great tackle.
Yeah,
and how he did it.
If Pablo hadn't have done that, mate, they were up. I think 1-0. That would have been 1-0. So
the thing with Pablo as well, just obviously totally off topic. It wasn't a malicious. He knew it was going to be late, but he didn't do it as in like, you know what, I'm just going to take you out and I'm going to get a red. It was like a yellow card, cool, malicious one. Yeah. No, like that's it. But it was perfect. That tackle was perfect. I clapped it as well.
That could have changed the game, Addy. That was in the 16th minute. He got a yellow card. Mate, you could be looking at a 16-minute, and I think they would have scored if he didn't. He was the last man there, so he had to take him out. Gets a yellow. Hey, happy days, and look at the result. But that could change the whole mentality of the game.
The amount of moaning I've seen on Twitter about it and say, he was slow. Shut up, man. No, like, just learn football. And as I said, the Xhaka one on, I think it was Pulisic when Mount hit the post. Great foul. Like, he's tried to get the ball, but you go to get the ball. If you don't get the ball, make the foul. Like, they're your two options. And I think this is where our fan base is a problem because Xhaka should have just fouled Pulisic. And he's actually pulled out of the tackle. And for me, that is purely because people moan at him for giving away too many free kicks. Like, yes, he gives away too many free kicks, but there is time to give away free kicks. And when people do it for the right reason, fucking clap. Like,
that's right.
So obviously Pulisic, we've played out Callum Hudson-Odoi, but then again, this is where the naivety of the young Willock. He did all the good hard work initially, so then obviously now he thinks Hudson-Odoi is gonna put a cross in. He jumps up and then just skips right past him, and then obviously whips it across. So thing again now, like it's a thing where you just stand on your feet. You try and get your body to cross to block the ball, but you just stay active, stay in front of the ball at all times. Don't just die. Don't just literally put yourself out of the game by just jumping. Like, you don't need to jump. Look, if it hits you in the head, bang. If it hits you at the top of the head, bang. At least the cross hasn't gone to where it was initially going to go. If he just stood on his feet and then just jockeyed with the ball there, but that was my issue with that goal.
Tony, I'm going to go into the 90th minute. There was a penalty for Chelsea, and absolutely, I'll be honest, the 90th minute, I'm thinking I think it was 5 minutes added time, and I'm thinking if he gets this is going to be the roughest 5 minutes of my life, because I could just see Chelsea coming back here and nipping, taking a point out of this game. I have to hats off to Leno, but do you want to talk about the penalty as well?
Yeah, I mean, look, first things first, it's a clear penalty. He's just been done. I mean, I think it's a bit lucky in that the cross wasn't meant for Mount, and considering the cross wasn't meant for him, he's had a good touch. And Mary's gone for a ball that he thinks is 50-50. In reality, it's 70-30, and it's a penalty. Yeah, and look, I think every Arsenal fan will be lying if they said they weren't shitting themselves at that point and thinking, oh, how can we play so well for 85 minutes or whatever and throw it away? Obviously, Jorginho steps up, and I think it was on here I said it, or maybe it was in the group chat a few weeks ago. That run-up, it's not impossible, but it's very fucking hard to go anywhere but your bottom right when you do it. Like, it, as I said, it is possible. So I don't want videos of people proving me wrong, because I can do it and go both ways. But it's it just to open your body and roll it bottom right is basically all you can do. And keepers are onto that now. So now they just go there. Like, you could see Leno had no hesitation. He was going there. And if the penalty goes anywhere else, fair enough. Like, you've done me. And it wasn't even it wasn't in the corner. It was like Leno saved it, and then he's hit his other hand, which made it run away from him. And I'm thinking, fuck no, like, don't let anyone get the seconds. The penalty was so bad, it's actually too close. So that's why it's bounced up. But yeah, look, Leno's done his homework. And as I said, I think like Bruno Fernandes has basically stopped doing that run up now, because it's, 90% of the time where the ball's going to go. Or if you go the other way, you're actually making it really hard for yourself, because if you overstep, then you can kick the ball against your own foot and it's a free kick the other way. If you understep, you're too far away from the ball and you can't get the power. You can't really go high the other way because you can't get under the ball. And if you do, you probably get too far under the ball and it could go over. You can go high the way Jorginho went. But again, by that time, the keeper's gone that way, and it's not going to be power. It's going to be loopy. So if the keeper goes that way, he's got half a chance. So I just think for me that I was pleased when he started doing that run up.
Who's the best penalty taker? Yeah, it was. Who's the best penalty taker in the Premier League for you?
Harry Kane.
Fernandes.
Harry Kane for me.
Harry Kane for me. Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah, okay.
Cunt hits the side netting every time. Like, he kicks the ball. It's so basic. He kicks the ball very hard at the side netting. You can't save it. Like, it's near impossible. And I think the only time I've seen him miss one is when he fucked about and tried to fuck about, go down the middle. Like, I think it was Liverpool away a couple of years ago, and he scored another one in the game. He scored another one in the game, but he tried to be clever early on and like went for a little cute side foot down the middle. Like, just do what you do. It's like Shearer in penalty shootouts. Laced it, top corner, side netting. Like,
who was that? Burnley? Was it Burnley guy? Yeah, it was a Burnley guy that just ran down the middle, smashed it. I can't remember. Was it Gary Alexander?
Yeah, I think it was Gary Alexander.
Oh yeah,
he was weird because he'd hit it with the outside of his foot sometimes to get it to go wide, like not wide obviously, but to the right. He didn't change his approach at all. He just used the outside of his foot.
Okay, boys, I'm going to go 3-2-1, and I'm going to give 3-2-1. Let's go 3-2-1 all because when Jack does I hope Jack's still recording it. But when he listens back, he can just write Tony's 3-2-1 and then Addy.
Can I just, before I do mine, Addy's 3 is wrong. Like, it's just plain wrong. Like, it shouldn't count. I'm not like
3-2-1.
No, you'll see in a minute and you'll understand that he's wrong.
Righto.
Saka free for me. He just I think he was involved in everything good. He looked bright throughout the whole game, done his defensive work as well. So yeah, I think Saka is a comfortable free. Laka too. Thought he had a very good game all round, everything. Even his hold up play, it wasn't usually he holds the ball up, twerks for 25 seconds.
Who?
Huh? Laka.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I think his hold-up play was much better. Usually, ball gets rolled into his feet. He winds on his man for a while, does a little slow dance, and then loses the ball. But now it was like one touch, bang out wide. So now he's pinned the defender, and the attack's going on. Now he can twerk to his heart's content. The ball's gone and we're attacking. I literally, I thought his hold-up play was really good yesterday. And one, I gotta give it ESR, and I don't know. No, to be fair, I'm actually going to do it on how they played. I thought Tierney was unreal, and to be fair, I feel quite bad giving him one. He could have easily got more. But there's so many players. I thought Holding was fucking exceptional yesterday. Murray done what he needed to do. Again, he's not troubling a 3-2-1. Granit, again, we've all said was good. I could put so many players in it, but yeah, I'm going to go Saka, Laka, Katie.
All right, go on, Addy.
Wrong.
My 3 goes to Leno. Look, they don't have much to do in the game. But for me, that penalty save was crucial because I think someone said, I think it was Shrin in the comments said that, they weren't threatening. There was, before, I think it was after that goal, they went on a run. Callum Hudson-Odoi was on a run down the middle, on the left, and he was just driving in. Look, they were honestly, if they scored, I remember Arsenal with Liverpool, like when we were winning Champions League, like
Move
on that
move.
mad
Come
run.
on,
Yeah,
stop talking this up.
yeah. But yeah, Leno through. 2 goes to Kieran Tierney. I thought he was instrumental down that left-hand side, as Tony said. Yeah, the left is his. It's his. He lives there. Left back, left wing back, left midfield, left winger. That's him. And my 1 goes to Martinelli. Again, he was quality, energetic, pressing from the front, and it was infectious. You saw Laka as well, presses there. That's my 3-2-1.
Okay,
Tez, just before you go, I just want to say on Gabby, is a weird one because I think actual performance, as you said, he missed a couple of chances. He missed one after 30 seconds. I think his actual level of football wasn't fantastic, but everything outside that he brings, like as you said, his attitude, his pressing, his energy. It's like, as I said earlier, even when he's bad, he's good because he brings all of that stuff. So that's why I didn't include him in mine. Like, as I said, his actual performance, I don't think, not performance, I don't know how to describe it. Actually, what he done, how he impacted the game when you look at chances and what it wasn't the most, but then you look at what he brings to the team and it's unbelievable. Like, it makes us a different team.
Okay. 3 points to Granite. How he didn't get 3 points or even in the fucking 3-2-1 with you clowns, I've got no idea what the bloke has to do. Like, seriously, what more does he have to do? Even the haters are going, geez, Granite had a good game. Like, wow. But it's very hard when there's 5 or 6 good players, to be honest. So. Granite for me gets a 3. Saka for 2. This kid is just, I'm really looking forward to watching more of this kid. And Martinelli gets a 1 for me. That's another kid who I'm in love. I'm actually might be having an affair on Granite with Martinelli very soon. This kid is just, I just like everything he brings.
So do you know what's interesting? There wasn't anyone that got into all 3 of ours. Me and you had Saka, Addy didn't. Me and Addy had KT, you didn't. No, it's not a criticism of anyone, obviously. We saw the game differently, but how nice is it to be able, in other weeks we've gone, well, it's fucking obvious it's him because he's the only one that played. Like,
yeah. No, interesting. And this is what it should do. This is what it should do.
Yeah, I think I had a post when we played Leeds. My 3.
Okay, I've got some stuff to get through before we get to some questions. Actually, we will play this now, and then we'll get into some questions.
For Gooners everywhere, this is the ultimate football app for you. For match highlights, interviews, and the best Arsenal videos and podcasts. Download the free Gunners app now from the App Store and Google Play.
Okay, thank you, Louis. Okay, what do we got? I'm trying to scroll back up through the top. One from Schwinn. Really like this new position for William. And there was a conversation up here regarding, I think, Saka. No, there was a conversation about these players, the Aubameyang and Willian. I'm just trying to find it now. Bear with me. Right up. Brian had a laugh at Tierney telling Aubameyang to fuck off.
Marley Mo.
Going back down again. Jeez, this is great fun podcasting. I get there's so many bloody questions and stuff here. I'm just going to go through them all anyway. I think Elneny wanted to get it over the players. Remember, that was coming from a corner. Yeah, okay, look, I maybe was a little bit critical there. Mally Mole here, I don't want to see Willian, Aubameyang or Luiz anymore. It's hard to disagree. It really is hard to disagree, boys. Aubameyang, you know what really bugged me? I don't know if you boys seen it on your coverage, but Aubameyang sitting in the stands smiling. I don't know. I didn't like it. Smiling away like a Cheshire cat.
To be fair, again, you only seeing them at one moment in time. Like no one actually knows what the context of him smiling was.
He's sitting on his own.
Oh no, he had the thing in front of him. He had one of the.
Oh yeah, maybe. Marley Mo says if he brings them back, he deserves firing.
Do you know the thing is? It's before I answer Swin's question, which I saw earlier. It's horses for courses. Like everything worked well in that game, but there's going to be a time in a couple of weeks where Lacazette misses a few chances. People go, fucking Aubameyang on £10 million a week, blah blah blah. Why is he not playing? Like Aubameyang's not been fantastic this season, but let's not pretend he's.
We're reactive fans.
Yeah, like, look, I can understand the point with Willian and to an extent with Luiz, but then look, someone will be moaning about Holding next week.
I said to you at the start of this show, like before we started recording, did you see the Tottenham fans blowing up? They want bloody Jose sacked. I'm like, how reactive is that? The bloke, as much as I want him to be sacked and whatnot, but he's
done a good job.
He's doing a pretty good job, Schwinn says, question for Tony: who's the better player, Eddie or Werner?
It shouldn't be a question.
Yeah, look. You're making that noise like it's going to be difficult to answer. It's not difficult to answer at all. I think Werner is massively overrated, and I don't think he's that good. Eddie is shit. Like they're different. They're different levels. Like, and the thing is, I think with Werner, if no one had overhyped him, like he does this, he does that, he's worth this. Like he's just half quick. To be honest, this is going to get some reaction. He's Theo Walcott. He even took the initials. Like, that's what he is. He's very quick. If you give him space in behind, he's deadly. His finishing is okay. So is Walcott. He's probably a little bit braver than Walcott. For me. He's that. I'm talking about Walcott around his best. I'm not talking about the Walcott that was scoring 4 goals a season. But Werner and Walcott are, to me, around similar level.
Leif says, is this a win that will push Arsenal on or just paper over the cracks till the next game? Brighton coming up. Well, if we lose against Brighton...
Can I have a crack at this one?
Yeah, go for it.
The only thing I will say is that, again, I've seen Arsenal fans, top 4, and it's like, this is why you should have said Arteta to go out. Like, this should now be a foundation, and what the reason why I was moaning earlier in the season, or over the past 3 months, because that was our first win in the Emirates in 3 months, is because even with the players we have, we should still be able to play games like this. It may not be consistent, but you should get an odd win here, an odd win there. But for us to have our first win in 3 months at the Emirates should be a concern. Should this be a foundation for us to push on? Yes, it definitely should be. And then it should give Arteta the opportunity to say, okay, yes, I do deserve to be here at the club. We can build on this. But I don't want it to be like the Man United match where, we come in, win at Man United, everyone gets, we won at Man United, and then we lose the next few games. It just can't be like that.
Is Smith Rowe good enough to start regularly for you boys? Yes or no?
Good enough, yes.
Willie?
Yeah. Just on the last question quickly. My worry is that everyone's now going to expect us to go and blow away Brighton and West Brom. And style, I mean, look, you can see how both teams are playing. That they don't give you much space. I mean, obviously West Brom drew with Liverpool today. They drew with City 2 weeks ago. Stylistically, I know, look, you would say, you want to play teams at the bottom of the table, but stylistically, they're two complete opposite games from what we played yesterday. And I'm not sitting here thinking, now that means we're definitely going to win.
I think you're going to get more hard workers in those teams than what Chelsea put out yesterday. I think our players will be much more under pressure. We won't have as much time. We're not going to have as much space. But then this is where the quality, or the so-called quality that we do have, should rise to the top. But it's going to both.
Well, it's also like a lot of the strengths we find from yesterday are getting in behind and finding space between the lines. Right. West Brom don't have lines. They play 10 at the back. There's no line. And they defend so deep. There's also no getting in behind. So it's like not all of them, but a lot of the positives yesterday are taken out, like, pressing. How can you press the ball when it's in the clouds? Like, you're going to get neck ache from watching it going over your head. Like, so should we
Smith
win?
Rowe has to play. Smith Rowe has to play against West Brom. That one is critical. He has to play. Because similar to what Tottenham did, they just dropped deep. There was a lot of space in front of the defence. And as you said, Smith Rowe knows how to put himself in good positions. And he has to play in that match for me.
Well, relentless football talk says Smith Rowe's good. He keeps it simple. We could have picked 8 players for the 3-2-1, says Ray. Fans are so reactive. Not just Arsenal fans, absolutely. Timo is just a German Shane Long.
Addy, what's your opinion on Werner now? Because I know he was like your who we should get if Aubameyang went.
Yeah, for me, who I would have got him in, and solely because he can play, well, obviously not of yesterday's showing, but he can play off of that left side and down the middle as well. I still rate him. I always think that certain players can do it in their first season, and there's a few players that can do it in their first season in the Premier League, but then you're going to have a lot of players that cannot do it in their first season. And I think him, Havertz, will take maybe 1, even 2 seasons. Like, obviously, Pulisic last year, he took before he got injured, he took the Premier League by storm. He had a very good season, Pulisic. So again, you're gonna have those players, and especially again the price tag on them as well. Pulisic didn't come with I don't think he came with
he was like 50. He was about the same price as Werner.
Oh, it was about the same price as Werner. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you boys? Are you at half time when they took him off and they made the change? Were you surprised when Jorginho came on that it wasn't Giroud as well?
No, see, that's what I wanted to say. I was so surprised Giroud did not come on.
Yeah, I was. I actually thought, like, I know they bought. I think they should have bought on Giroud because they could have played them long balls into him, and I would have probably been more worried if Giroud had to come on.
For me, not at half time, but the way Hudson-Odoi played, I thought Hudson-Odoi was very good when he came on. Mm-hmm. The way he was playing, I think, who was their third sub? Havertz. It should have been Giroud should have come on then because he came on. He was their third sub around 70, 75.
I didn't even see him.
Exactly. He came on for Kante. He came on for Kante around 70, 75. But for me, by that point, Hudson-Odoi had started to have an impact on the game. And I think the reason Kante came off, well, Lampard said it's because he wanted to restore his energy because they got a game in 2 days or 1 day now. But they played across from the left, Pulisic, and Kante was the only one in there. And Xhaka literally chested the ball from 3 yards out into Leno's. He had no concern of Kante being there. And at that point, I thought Giroud would be causing us nightmares here. But yeah, they took Kante off and brought Havertz on. But not at half time, I wouldn't have done it because you can't. They're not the type of team that got the players to go long for 45 minutes. And someone said it in the comments that Reece James wasn't too adventurous because he was scared of Martinelli going in behind. And obviously, when Martinelli came off, James got. And as I said, it was half an impact of us dropping off a bit, half that Hudson-Odoi looked really bright, and then James got a little bit more adventurous.
See, that's where I want. Like, as much as I hate United, and I think Solskjaer is that is where I want Arteta just to look at how Man United set up at times, because with that front three or wingers of Martinelli and Saka, like we've got the pace there, and how they utilize the counter attack so effectively. For me, we should be utilizing that as well, and we could have utilized that where we sit deep and try and hit teams with the counter. So I think saying that again for Arteta to work on. But
Ray's been negative. Ray, listen, mate, come on. He says we haven't beaten Brighton since they came back in the league.
Yes,
it's being factual.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Factual, not negative, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's not factual.
Oh,
we haven't beat them.
I haven't looked. I've got no idea.
We haven't beat them at the Amex. We haven't beaten them at the Amex. We've beaten them.
Okay.
Is it at the Amex? It's 2 away games, isn't it?
Yeah, they're both. Yeah, it's 2 away games.
Okay, boys, I've got a couple of questions on Twitter, but before I do go to that, I am hopeless at promoting our own stuff, and people do ask me where can you get the Patreon stuff. You can grab our Patreon stuff on our socials. There's a link on top of the profile. And we got some good content there. Actually, we did a pod last week, I think, or the week before with the Premier League wrap. So for that, week 13, I think it was, wasn't it? Anyway, Hakon Larson, he says it's really sad thinking about the old times when we're almost every game at least at home against not top 4 club was a win, and we could see some from the kids from time to time. I just can't figure it out.
Taz, you've got the wrong question, Fred. This is from the last one.
I was thinking, what's he on? Okay. Right, let me get the proper question. Okay.
Either that or I've got mad deja vu because I remember answering that question last week.
I did have that. Sugar Daddy Clay says, which addition to the starting 11 do you feel most integral to the performance? Murray, Smith Rowe, Laka, or Martinelli? For me, it's Martinelli's a must every week. Tony?
Between Martinelli and Martinelli, but in terms of how we broke the lines and ran away from the ball, ESR had a huge impact in that game. If you're asking me who's the better player, it's obviously Gabby, and the intensity and all that he brings to the team. He's my answer, but I don't think it's as simple as going, this one guy made the difference.
But I'll be honest, you know what, though? And if you're looking at each week in, week out, Murray for me, because I think he's better than a David Luiz. I'd rather start him.
No, but the issue is, will
Gabriel
Arteta play Gabriel together? That's one question.
Yeah. When Gabriel comes back, yeah.
Well, do you know, look, this is another issue I've got. Is I not only do I like, I think we're better when we defend deep because there's no real pace in our back line, even with Gabriel. But he wants to defend on the front foot, and to be honest, I'm not too far away from saying he's our best centre-back. Is he in our best 11? Because we pointed out last week how a lot of our goals come from him charging into midfield, trying to nick a ball, and then us getting spun in behind. This week, they played nothing in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
But then the problem, David Luiz, he's probably not defend. Look, he's made a name as a defender. But when I think of David Luiz, I think of them massive, long, pinpointed balls that he can create. But then when he's been there, we haven't won a game either. So is that actually working? So it's, I don't know.
I don't. Tony might be surprised I say this, but I think what was critical to the game yesterday and should be going forward is, let me not say, ESR. If you're not going to have Ozil in the team, Smith Rowe has to play in that 10. We have to play with a 10. We have to.
10.
And I don't want Willock, because there's a thing. We played Willock in a 10. Willock,
I was still when he come on, Addy. I thought, really, why are we giving this bloke another go?
have to play ESR. If you're not going to, obviously Ozil's not in the team now, ESR has to be there because it gives us other avenues to attack. If we don't play him, it's just going to be down the wing. Like we played a lot of central balls, and he found himself in good positions yesterday. That is critical to a lot of things. I would say.
I agree. The only reason I said Gabby is if you could only start one or the other for the next 6 months, who would you pick?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be.
That was the point I was getting at.
Golson fan, I think Lacazette gives just as much in every other game as he did yesterday. Does this system suit him better? Would Aubameyang do any better? Should they both play together again based on the new energy of yesterday's youth?
I don't know how you fit them. But look, there's obviously going to be times where they both play together, but in reality, you want Gabby playing on the left for the foreseeable. I don't want Aubameyang playing on the right. I've never liked him on the right since day one. Look,
Lacazette at the 10 don't work.
No, exactly. And down the middle, it depends who you're playing because Aubameyang poses different problems. He's obviously quicker. He's a better finisher. He's got a more natural instinct to score. He makes better runs. Lacazette's better coming deeper than Aubameyang is. His hold-up's better. He does bring people into play better when he's playing like he did yesterday and not taking 25 touches and then falling over. So they bring you different things. And I think there'd be, as I said, different horses for different courses. Playing them both together is obviously going to happen from time to time, but I don't think our best 11 includes both of them.
Do you think Arteta's issue is he doesn't know how to play good, effective football, or does he know but isn't choosing to? I'm trying to work out the question there, but go on, Addy, if you can tackle that.
Does he know how to play good, effective football? Again, now, his first 10 games of his reign, we saw good, effective football. Again, even in the second bit of after the pandemic, when it came back, again it was good, effective football. Even a bit more defensive, but it was effective, and we got wins. So he does know it. I think the questions over the last few weeks was, where was this? And great win again, I would say. Great win, but then now he just has to continue this run of form and go on from here. He shouldn't really and truly, I think the key things for me is when Luis and Willian is back, what does he do? That will let me know if he's going to be making the same old mistakes or if he's finally going to say, cool, let's move on, let's push on.
Do you know what? I don't see Luis as big a problem.
Yeah, okay. I agree.
Willian.
Yes.
Willian,
yeah.
He is. If he brings Willian back in, he's going to get slaughtered. But we'll see.
Yeah, he'll get slaughtered with Willian.
Because truly, sorry, just did Arteta pick that team because those guys were out and he had to pick it, or did he do it knowing that, you know what? Yes, this is what I'm going to play. They would have been on the bench anyway.
Well, that's interesting for me, and I'm going to be interested to see what happens against Brighton, even if they're even back. But the other thing I'm interested in, Addy, is we've got a transfer window popping up in the next week or so. So, where are we heading down that path?
From latest news, it's we're trying to get Julian Brandt from Borussia Dortmund. Say a midfielder that can carry the ball and can play in as an 8, as a 10, someone that can dribble. I'm
interested there though. Who goes?
Who goes?
Is it a Mustafi? Socrates going to go? What's going to happen with Ozil? Are we going to finally go, okay, we're going to put him in the team or try and get something for him? Like,
I was reading an article, I think it was Independent. It was Independent that came out with something that most of the squad or half of the squad want him to reinstate Ozil. Some I don't know whether the others don't or what it is, but yeah, there's discussions there. But again, like I think Tony said it. I think from the first he can actually start playing him, like, and then obviously then you've got the new squad list in a month. So again, now we're gonna have FA Cup, you're gonna have Premier League matches. So if we can play him again to share the load.
Saliba, there's another one. Like, we're talking about Murray having a great game, and like it just there's so many questions going to happen in the next week or two, I think.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because again, Saliba, another big question: are they going to send him out to France? Are they going to keep him in the UK? Are they actually keeping him with Arsenal? If they get rid of Socrates and Mustafi, I'm thinking you're going to need another centre back, but.
And I've seen a question pop up very, very early in this podcast, about an hour ago. Maitland-Niles is linked to Spain somewhere there, I seen. So,
these are all going to be... Because Trippier loves the bookies, but I think there's next to no chance of that happening, to be honest. On the Saliba one, according to AFC Bell, I haven't seen this, but someone put it in the group chat. Apparently, he said his agent was at Highbury House today discussing his future, so I'd assume he goes out. I mean, I would have assumed that anyway, to be honest. I assume he goes out, and as he said, it's where I don't see Mustafi, Socrates maybe. I don't see Mustafi going. I don't think he'll bring Ozil back in. I think might have
Roma were very close to signing Socrates, weren't they? So whether they go back in for him, I don't know. It was almost a done deal, but I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I think there's a half a chance of him going just to try and get his wages off the books. There'll be a nominal fee. I think Mustafi will hold on. But I don't see the numbers at centre back as such an issue, because when we left Socrates and whatnot out in the summer, basically Chambers and Murray didn't exist. Like, they were out until January essentially. Now them two are back, so losing Mustafi and Socrates, your numbers are almost the same. So I don't see any changes there. As I said, I think Socrates might go, might not. The Brandt rumour's picking up some steam. I can't see it, but I'm not sure. He's a good player.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's to sign a contract, a pre-contract, or if it's to come in now. That's not. No,
he's not out of contract.
Oh, he's not out of contract. Okay.
No, because they only signed him like 2 years ago, maybe.
2 years ago, yeah, I think.
And I saw something say, like, from a German press saying Dortmund don't mind losing him, but they hadn't planned on doing any business in January in or out. So I don't. It's not like a pre-contract thing. But I think, to be fair, he's a good player. I mean, his numbers this season ain't the best, but Lucien Favre wasn't having him. Like, I think he scored 1 goal in 13 appearances, but his average minutes is like 24 or something.
Yeah, I think I saw Wijnaldum one, but
that would be for the summer. I can't see it, but
I can't see
he's the most underrated. He's the most underrated player in the league. I think he's incredible, but you know what it is. It'd be on big money. He's 30 or verging on, and the moment he had a bad game, it'd be our retirement house or whatever it's called, retirement home. I can't see it, but he's a hell of a player.
I'm going to pump through these a few thoughts from Hakon Larson, who is always commenting and asking things. Hakon, he says, if you are Arteta, how would you manage Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe? Let them start and play every PL game, take them a bit in and out, or just let each gameplay sort of decide? Tony?
Yeah, look, it's going to be game by game. We've got thingy in 2 days, and then another 2 days after we've got West Brom. there's games that won't really suit, especially Martinelli's style and probably Smith Rowe to an extent. And they're players that haven't played a lot of minutes. So I don't think you can blanket go, we're going to play them every week. There's going to have to be rotation. But I'd be including them players as high up priorities. Saka, again, I would say you don't want to burn him out, but he's been playing every game pretty much for almost a year now. So he's definitely higher up the list just because he's been not doing it in terms of ability, but in terms of having to put the work in every week. So look, you've got to manage them, but they should be in the conversation for every game, and that's where you are at the moment. Like I said, there's games that maybe won't suit them so much. That's football, but they should always be on the bench if fit and looking to be one of the first subs, obviously depending on the situation. Like when it was at Everton, Smith Rowe was on the bench. We needed a goal and he wasn't considered. Now, and then even in the Carabao Cup, he comes off the bench in the game. Like now, after that Chelsea performance, I can't see a situation where if we're chasing a goal, he's not playing. He's not brought on. That's where the level up's gone. It's not now he's an automatic starter, but it's he should be starting. Maybe we'll need to give him a rest sometimes. But if we're chasing a goal, the guy comes on the pitch.
Okay, Hakon says the fact that Arteta said he needed 5 or 6 players to be where he wanted, could that have something to do with our bad performances, Addy?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
Apparently Arteta said, I didn't see the press conference, so I'm in the dark here. The fact that Arteta said he needed about 5 or 6 players to be where he wanted, could that have something to do with our bad performances?
He wanted 5 or 6 players to be where he wanted.
I presume he wants to bring in 5 or 6 in January.
I can't see
anything I think of.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't think this is, well, for me, this isn't where he wants to be. No one expects Arsenal to be here. So whether it's 5 or 6,
did he say that? Have you seen that, Tony? Or as well? I haven't.
I've not seen it, and obviously you're only reading it out. But I mean, it's not that sensationalist. We're 10 players away from where I want us to be. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's not a huge negative. Like, really, is it? And is it a kick up the arse for the players? Maybe, but I've not seen it, so I can't say context or if he said. Like, I mean, look, there's no way we're going to do that in January. Let's be realistic. So he can't have been talking about the window coming up. But again, I've not seen it, so I don't want to go too deep into he should have, could have, would have, should have.
Again, January is going to be hard anyway. Like, let's be honest. January is one of the hardest windows to sign quality players. So,
well, I'm more. I want to see a few players go in January. You know, like these. I feel. Call me old school, but I feel for the Socrateses and Ozils a little bit like they're sitting around just, and we're just paying them, wages. Like they got to be. It's got to be a bad smell. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I've got 50 staff and I've got one bloke I'm just paying to sit at home, everyone else gets a little bit going, well, how come he gets fucking paid to sit at home? Like, it stinks to join out. Like, that's where I want to see come in January, is a few of these stinky old fucking players. Either play them or move them on. Where am I? That performance is why I fucking hate Granite, says Hakon. Wow.
What he's saying.
Hey?
I understand what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. Similar to.
He's just not. He just needs to be Mr. Consistent. Your 6.5 a week. That's it. Maybe one game above, one game maybe below. But Granite is there. Or to be fair, it's not up. It's there, down, one up, down. Unfortunately.
Do you know what? I was going to cut in when you were saying this earlier, and do you know why this will never happen with Granite? Because there's such polarized opinions. There is people that think he's world class within our fan base, and people that think he's the worst player to ever put on boots. So the moment he has a 6.5, people are trying to make it an 8 or a 2. So he could have 5 6.5s in a row, but it'll never be seen as that. You'll have half the fan base telling you he was world class and it was the reason we win games, and the other half saying, "Oh, but he's still too slow." And it's what I was going to say again when you were talking about him earlier and like why the people don't rate him, and you're talking about someone else. Oh, and you were saying like, "Oh, he's seen as shit because he's not Kante," and you're talking about consistency. In England, it's a massive problem in England. If you're not quick, you're seen as shit. Like from day dot. And you start at shit if you're not quick, and then you have to prove yourself. If you're quick, you're seen as got potential. If you're slow, you're shit, and then you can prove yourself better.
You know, one comes to mind when you're talking to that, and I've seen a question about it earlier, whether we rate Holding like our counterparts on the Thursday Night Live do. Darren and that, they must have been having a discussion about Holding. So I did listen to that, actually. Yeah, they rate him as, I think it was an actual... I don't want to repeat this, but I think Darren was putting him in the Tony Adams class, and I was like, well, that's okay. Okay. Whether he's going to be that kind of player. And you know, Tony, you were just talking about slow players. Mertesacker, for me, you know, he comes to mind when you're talking about that. But did I rate Mertesacker? And I did rate him because as slow as he was, but I felt that some of the performance, he put in some good performances. Like,
he was a good player, but as I said, you start from shit if you're slow. Like that's where you start from. And the thing is, there's always going to be highlight reels of someone absolutely stripping you for pace. Like until that Abraham goal. Pablo Mari, we hadn't conceded a goal in the Premier League when he played. And I saw someone say, "Oh, he was shit. Did you see when Kyle Walker ran past him?" First of all, Kyle Walker. I don't need to expand on that. Yeah. Secondly, it was when Mari got injured. The guy was on one leg, fell over, and people going, "Oh, he's shit because he got stripped by Kyle Walker." Like, again, to repeat, Kyle Walker. It's madness. And as I said, like there's loads of players that, as I said, because they're not the quickest, they're just seen as shit and have to work so hard to prove themselves. Like, again, I don't want to fucking big him up too much because he plays for them down the road. But Harry Kane, when he first come in, he was he can't run. It's a one-season wonder. People learn to defend high up and can't get behind you. Fucking 250 goals later. There's loads of them that just and that's where you start from, and that's going to be part of Granit's problem is that. There's two things, as I said. One, he's not quick, he can't run, and the other, the fan base are so polarized on him, he can never ever have a 6.5 out of 10, which means he can never be. Even if he is consistent, he'll never be seen as consistent because you can ask 10 people and the scores will range. It won't be from, say he was a 6.5. Usually you'll go between 6 and 8. Someone will say an 8, someone will say a 6. With Granit, it'll range between. He has a 6.5. It ranges between 2 and 9. How's that? It can't be consistent. Fair
point. We talked about centre backs earlier, and you know we've discussed Saliba, we've discussed Gabriel and Pablo. He was, he put in a 10 performance for me against Chelsea. But where do you put a Rob Holding, lads? Like, he's a. Because this come about last week because Rob Holding wore the armband. I think, and I'll be honest, I don't remember recording with you boys last week. I think we slated him. I think we were like, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's my initial reaction now anyway, just talking about it. But so they were like, the boys were talking about Rob Holding and whether he's a Tony Adams or he's going to be turned into a Tony Adams. And keep in mind that when Tony Adams was there, it took him a good couple of seasons to become the leader and whatnot. So I don't know. Where do you see his future at Arsenal, Eddie?
So I have to go back to that first season of Arsene Wenger when we brought him in. He was immense. And from there, I thought he was going to push on. I think I've said this a few times.
Yeah.
That he just hasn't really pushed on. And then last season under Emery, was it last season or the season before when he got injured at United?
Season before. He got injured at Old Trafford.
At Old Trafford, yeah. He had a run of games and it was like, okay, yes, this is the Rob Holding I want to see. So it's just, again, with him, I need to see consistent performances from him. And I think he does have the ability there to get, maybe not to a Tony Adams, but maybe to I don't even think a Kolo Toure level. Kolo Toure was immense as well. Maybe just beneath that. I don't see him as a world beater. But if he gets there, then I'll be happy. But I don't think he will get to that level of centre back at Arsenal.
Who was the last greatest centre back that you could think of in the last 10 years?
I won't lie to you. For me, Koscielny was great for me. I thought Koscielny was a great defender for us. I think he just didn't have a good partner. I rated Koscielny.
Yeah. What about you, Tony?
I knew Addy was going to say Koscielny, and he was very good, but he wound me up because I've said on here before that I like footballers with brains, not athletes, and Koscielny was more an athlete, and he was a good one. I think it's very unfair to say he didn't have a good partner because him and Mertesacker's partnership was always...
Sorry.
I was actually going to pull Addy up on that.
You know what? I apologize. I think prior to that, I apologize. He actually did have a good partnership with Mertesacker.
For me, he needed someone to think for him, and that's what Mertesacker done. And Mertesacker needed someone to run for him, and that's what Koscielny done. And I think it worked quite well, unless one of them got isolated trying to do the other one's job. In terms of if you're talking great, and I think both of them were good, and I would say Koscielny was slightly better. But if you're talking great, probably go back to Sol Campbell.
Yeah.
And obviously the first time he was there. And that's pre-Emirates era, which is scary because like Kolo was, again, he was more like the Koscielny mold, and he wasn't as good as Koscielny for me. Who else did we play? There's no names after that you really thought.
The conversation come about, and Sol Campbell was one that I thought as well, but a lot of some Arsenal fans who, the older school ones, don't like the way we went about signing him and the way he came to Arsenal and things like that. Like, for me, I don't care whether the bloke, he was classed as a Judas or what. You know what I mean? Like, I don't bother.
Can I just wait? There's not a single Arsenal fan that didn't like that. Like,
I
not
swear.
one single.
I need to find that. I need to find who you're talking about.
It didn't bother me. No, I don't know if you listen to the boys Thursday Night Live, but yeah, they were talking about it. Darren's not a Sol Campbell fan at all. Cannot stand him. So, yeah, that's the only reason I brought it up, because obviously those who listen to this show, who was it? Brian mentioned it up in the comments about Holding, and it was based around Sol Campbell, and there was a whole conversation on it. So
for me, just I don't think Holding's. I like him, and I want him to be really good, and I don't think he's ever going to be as good as I want him to be. But he's a good. I think he's sort of a dependable, solid player in that he's going to have bad games, he's going to have good games. But I think because he's not at the level Arsenal fans want to be at, like I said yesterday, I thought he was pretty much faultless. Thought he'd done everything right. Even like he's got Werner running at him, and we say his pace isn't his thing, but he sent him down the outside, technically done everything right, and then got the block in, which is almost a bonus. Like once you've shown him on the left foot, you've almost done your job. Now the block's a bonus, and he does that. But no one speaks about it because it's Holding, and his hairline's a bit shit, and he's slow and whatnot. Like he's just not fashionable.
When Mustafi came in, like I've caught him, a few times playing, and I wondered why we signed him. Look, we signed him for a lot of money. I was like, fucking hell. But when Socrates came in, I thought he was going to be a really good, solid defender, but it just lacks stupidity, and I think that's his massive weakness. Like you could nearly give him a shout. but it just went so wrong for him.
I personally, I think Socrates has been really hard done by, because I'd still probably think he's the best defender at the club. The guy's just scared of a football at his feet, and in modern day, that's suicide. Give it 10 years ago, the guy would be starting week in, week out.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, I think I've got one more question from Glasgow Gooner, who usually joins us live, but I haven't seen him pop up today. Well, Arsenal, he's the one that always pops in rejects. So, were Arsenal that good or Chelsea that bad, he says? Oh, I actually... go on. No, you go.
I think we made them bad in a sense that we took up positions like Reece James started off getting forward and he put in 2 really good balls early on, and then we got in behind once and it wasn't Martinelli. I think it might have been Smith Rowe, and nothing came of it. But suddenly he thought, "Shit, I've got a problem here. Like I can't just gallivant forward." Chilwell, I don't think he got across the halfway line. Like I don't remember him going forward. So you can't say that's Chelsea being bad. I've got to say that's Saka doing his job properly. As I said, Smith Rowe took up positions where Kante didn't know what the fuck to do. Kovacic got dragged because he wasn't helping Kante. Like Martinelli was dragging him all over the place. Lacazette probably had his game of the season for me. I don't think Chelsea are great, but I think a lot of what we done made them not great. Like Mount outside of his free kick wasn't in the game. Pulisic had moments with flashy feet that never really came to anything, the goal aside. So you've got to give us credit for that. I don't think Chelsea were out and out bad.
I think watching them, though, their last couple of games, I have seen Chelsea decline. I don't know what it is, whether it's... I think they have players that just don't suit one another yet. Like, there's a lot of new faces in that Chelsea team. And for me, like, I just... You know, I think we did a Patreon...
Yeah,
we did, yeah. And I said they were I felt that they were one of probably the best attacking football teams. But something's happened in the last probably 4 or 5 games of theirs, maybe 4 games. And I can't put my finger on it. I really can't. They have declined massively. For
me, they're trying to fit Werner in places where either he doesn't fit or it actually makes them worse in terms of they move Pulisic to suit Werner, and for me, Pulisic is a much better player. Maybe he won't get the same numbers at the end of the season, but in terms of a better player, Pulisic is. They've been fucked up by Giroud. They had no plans to play Giroud, and then he came in because someone was injured, got a hat-trick, so then you can't drop him, and then he scored, and then he scored, and then he scored, and then he was their top scorer, and it was like, they don't want him in the team. They're trying to force Havertz in and find a position for him, even though one's not there. They're probably a better team with Jorginho in it, but Kante and Kovacic are better players. Like they're just...
That's what I mean. They're a bit of a mishmash.
And then on top of that, I mean, we're talking about their form. After yesterday, they've now lost 3 away games in a row. They won a home game in between against West Ham. They won 3-0, which was one of the most flattering scorelines I've seen this season. If that game would have been 1-1, there wouldn't have been a single person moaned about it. It's turned out that Mendy's nowhere near as good as Chelsea fans are going on about, which is a surprise to absolutely no one except Chelsea fans. Like, there's just he came in and he started off really well, but that was never his level. And now he's at fault for a goal every week almost, or does something that you go, he could have done or should have done better there. And it just is what it is. Like, and they're also, especially at the back, they're having to play the same 2 every week. And don't get me wrong, Thiago and Zuma are both good, but Thiago's 400 years old and new to the league. And Zuma has been he was loaned out, last year or the year before? And now he's their Mr. Dependable 100% in the team. Like, they've got too many numbers up top that aren't doing enough in terms of Havertz and whatnot. And then at the back, they only really trust their 2 centre-backs. And then at right-back, they don't want Azpilicueta in, even though he's very good, he can't go forward. So then James isn't fit. He has to play every week. I think if Chilwell's leg fell off, they'd still play him because they ain't playing Emerson. Now I say that, he'll play on whoever they've got.
You can't predict it. You can't predict it.
No, they've got Villa. They've got Villa, and one, if not both, of Chilwell and James will be dropped. but that's as a result of the result. They're just look. I said this to you on our last Patreon. The league is shite. There's not a good team in this league.
Like Liverpool, like they come out and scored, was it 6 or 8 against Crystal Palace? 7.
Yeah.
7. I went in between. Man United, they pumped some team the other day.
They pumped.
And I was talking about Chelsea. For me, were at one point I felt that they were the attack from Chelsea was blowing me away. But then you see what Liverpool pumping Crystal Palace and Man United. I'm like, fuck, what is going on? I can't keep up. I said to you at the start, Addy, I'm a betting man, and I've give up trying to bet on the Premier League. You're wasting your time.
100%.
Okay, boys, that's been an hour 40 minutes. Probably about 40 minutes over what I want to go through. But hey, I love reading people's questions, and you lovely people take the time to put them there. So I try and cover everything that I can. That's about it, boys. That's a wrap. I'm not sure what's happening. It's trying to get hold of these boys on the Thursday Night Live is, mate, you might as well fucking put an SOS out to an astronaut on the fucking moon, like Dad said. So I was thinking of popping on after doing a Brighton review on Wednesday, which is straight after kickoff, depending on what Darren and Max and that are doing, if they'll ever reach out to me. Liam's there as well. Otherwise, we might do another Patreon show and let them just run a Thursday Night Live or something like that anyway. We'll work it out. But, yeah, keep an eye on our socials and you'll see when we're back again. We'll be this week sometime. I just don't know in what way. Okay, thank you, lads.
No, thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Tony. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for downloading. And you've been listening to the Clock and Talk and Arsenal podcast. Good night and goodbye.